Hello everyone, welcome to a new market update, and I hope you've all had a wonderful weekend. A weekend where the market didn't do that much as it was just going sideways in general. And that's causing confusion around the markets. Where are we going? Is this a bear market? Is this just a trap to the downside in which we're going to just continue moving in the coming period? That's all questions that we have right now, but during accumulation, a sideways period is not the worst to have. Tonight at 19:30 Central European Time, I'm going to live stream again and I'll answer all the questions that you have and do some requests, but also discuss the market sentiment and the market price action at this stage. But before that, do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and also like this update and comment if you want to see some special content. So what do we see? We do see the crypto fear and greed index, and yesterday we've hit a very low number of 10. Right now we still have extreme fear as it's the 18 number, and when you go towards the most important data that we have in this one is that you can compare the actual numbers of the current state of the markets with March 2020 until May 2020, in which there was also a funeral state. Markets crashed heavily given the corona pandemic crash, including BitMEX engine failing. And since then, the market has been crawling upwards, and that was causing the fear and greed index to run up as well. We've not seen those numbers since March 2020, so it shows where we are currently in the state of mind. And it's also showing why social media is getting a little bit boring right now and also silent, given that there is no euphoria in the markets in itself. So when we move to the markets and when we move to Bitcoin, the first thing we should be doing is looking at the weekly time frame, which is essentially quite sad, right? It doesn't look great. It's looking like it wants to fall over even more, but it's currently into support after a distribution area that we've had here. And there are multiple examples of a distribution not being the top yet, given that we can have a reaccumulation in this period. That's the Wyckoff theory in general. But that could be the case right now, and everybody is still waiting and sidelined to see whatever is going to happen on the price of Bitcoin at this stage. If we look at the daily time frame, we still see that we are acting inside the support range for Bitcoin in itself. I'll just erase this a little bit to make it a little bit more beautiful. So we're still acting in support at this stage, but we are making lower highs, lower lows, which means that this trend is still downwards. There are a few signals on the lower time frames indicating that we might be getting a temporary top, and the critical resistance levels that we have. Well, we've got one at the range high, which is 40.6. We've got one at 45, and we've got the overall crucial area to break, which is around 48. That's the literally critical area. We also know that there is a CME gap in this range, but that's the one that we should be breaking if we want to have any momentum at all. So this entire construction and the breakdown that we have also seen that previously in September of 2020. I'm not sure whether we're going to have such a structure once again, but we can see that it can take a week or even more until the price starts to make a run up, or at least start to show some new impulse waves, because after such a period of time you will have compression in this period, and then you can see a new impulse wave. But we started to make new lower highs, new higher lows, higher highs, breakout, and the market continues. And that's the confusion that we have. A certain amount of people are assuming that we're going to have this and just a fall down to 15k. The other amount of people, and I'm including in that category, are expecting us to have such a structure in which the market is just having an outlier to the downside and is going to get back into bullish momentum in the coming period. But first it has to have some sideways action. So when we look at the lower time frames, we can see that we've got those lower highs, right? So we've got rejection here making a lower high. After that, we've got this critical resistance making a lower high. Now we've got this critical resistance that we have here, which is this area around 36.2 to 36.5. Preferably you want to see that break. This area has to break, and then we can start targeting 40k once again, and then we are actually continuing these higher lows that we have in this construction and building up towards the resistance at 40k, and then we might be seeing even 48k. And I assume that at this stage, given that the mass has been jumping into crypto when Bitcoin was 60k, the max pain is to the upside. So this is the critical area to break. What is the area that we should be holding for Bitcoin in itself? That's the area that we have here. Preferably I'd want to see 34 become support here, or at least stay support, and then we can see that even on these lower time frames we've got a compressive period in which we might be getting a new impulse wave within the next 2 to 3 days. Preferably breaking 36 would include that we're going to 40.6k. Then altcoins, some of them are doing actually quite fine, and one of them is Cardano. What can Cardano do? Well, it can just continue moving in general. The funny part is, if you look at this construction, and yes, we were here, and I said that you shouldn't be entering this one at all after such a vertical move. You should never enter something that is in vertical price action. But what we see is that we're just making higher lows continuously. And now we can see that we've got this compression being built up. So probably we'll be having some more sideways action. In which if we continue to get towards this resistance zone of $1.80, I think we're going to test these highs once again as we're building pressure to the upside. And this is still a bullish construction for Cardano, through which I'm expecting that we're going to see further upside on this one in general. Even Cardano against Bitcoin, we can see that we've had this beautiful retest, and we can see that since then we are still making higher lows. So this one, as long as we stay above green, is still in a bullish area in which we can just continue making sideways action before we start to break up. What is the critical area for Cardano right now to hold? That's this range. Preferably on the lower time frame, you would want to see this area around 4,000 sats become support. If that is able to do so, we can see that we're going to have further upside. So Cardano is one of the strongest altcoins out there. Can we see another run in which Cardano continues to make the momentum towards the all-time highs and maybe even further? Yes, we can do that. If we do have this breaker above $1.80, you can use the Fibonacci extension to derive the next target zones, which is $3.35 and $5. So if we get this breaker to the upside, if Bitcoin is going to find its bottoming formation here, we can start targeting these two target zones here. So there's upside to be expected, and not everything is bad in the markets. So do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also do not forget to tune into the live stream tonight, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.